Good evening. Soon it's going to be good morning, everybody. We come to you guys with a bit of a breaking news, a live stream. As you can tell, I'm not feeling too well. I'm losing my voice, runny nose, and everything. I thought I could take a break today, and I'm slightly behind doing the videos. Yet Boris Johnson has ruined my evening of rest and peace. Boris Johnson has officially pulled out, no pun intended. He has withdrawn from the Tory leadership election, and there is absolute chaos around the Westminster bubble. It's I don't really know what's going on really anymore at this point because you have the really pro Boris loyalists having a meltdown. You have some sensible people around the country, I mean, most of us, who are freaking out with the prospect of Rishi Sunak coronation. Because the guy who was supposed to be a small government Thatcherite when he was a backbencher, he didn't really act as one. He turned into a very pro-big government, globalist, money printing, tax rising idiot. So it's going to be a great live stream. Hopefully I can survive. Literally, my headache is terrible, my runny nose. The rest and peace that I was going to do, not happening. I'll put your live stream, live chat messages on the screen as well as we go on. But let's talk about what's going on. So we got the latest, the message from Boris Johnson to his supporters and his team. The statement that he's released is as follows. Where is it? Where do we have it? There we go. So Boris Johnson said, in the last few days, I have been overwhelmed by the number of people who suggested that I should once again contest the Conservative Party leadership, both among the public and among friends and colleagues in Parliament. I have been attracted because I led our party into a massive election victory less than 3 years ago. And I believe I am therefore uniquely placed to avert a general election now. Well, I agree with that. A general election would be a further disastrous distraction just when the government must focus on the economic pressures faced by families across the country, which you and Rishi did, by the way, but okay. I believe I am well placed to deliver a Conservative victory in 2024. That I agree with. And tonight I can confirm that I have cleared the very high hurdle of 102 nominations, including a proposer and a seconder, and I could put my nomination in tomorrow. There is a very good chance that I would be successful in the election with the Conservative Party members, and that I could indeed be back in Downing Street on Friday. Then it says, but in the course of the last few days, I have sadly come to the conclusion that this would simply not be the right thing to do. You can't govern effectively unless you have a united party in Parliament. That is interesting. He follows by saying, and though I have reached out to both Rishi and Penny because I hoped that we could come together in the national interest, we have sadly not been able to work out a way of doing this. Therefore, I am afraid the best thing is that I do not allow my nomination to go forward and commit my support to whomever succeeds. I believe I have much to offer, but I'm afraid that this is simply not the right time. He continues to tease us because the last sentence says, it's not the right time. Not that he had to say, I'm never going to run. But that just makes me think, well, he might do it again at some point in the future. Wait for the inevitable fallout from the other idiots. So we'll go to your reactions as well in a second. We've got a couple of super chats. What do we have? How do we put this on? There we go. Oh, I lost it. There we go. I'm an idiot. So let's quickly go back on the live chat to find the super chats for you guys. Let me know your thoughts on the potential Rishi Sunak coronation, because there's no guarantee. All the people who nominated Boris Johnson could now go and back Penny Morden. I forgot her name. What's the point of her? But let's see. We have Roger. Thank you so much for your super chat support. Saying Cornwall independence from this crazy country. Everyone needs independence from this crazy Westminster bubble. There was another one that I unfortunately missed. I will find it. There we go. Harry Painter saying, thank you so much, Harry, for your super chat. I'll go to the other comments as well. We need a general election now. Yes. So let's see what's going on with you guys. I love these comments. There's a new phrase, a new word. There we go. Lee says, Westminster, WEF minister. That's the fear when it comes to Rishi Sunak and his potential coronation. See? Terry Money says, Sunak, big WEF creep. And then we have, now we know who runs Britain, the House of Lords. Punk ask. And there is this fascinating concept, what's going on with the Tory party right now. There is we have this comment from Tom Harwood. Are you ready for this? Tom Harwood tweeted, overwhelmingly likely now that tomorrow the Conservative Party will install a Thatcherite leader that the right of the party hates after rejecting a Tory lefty leader that the left of the party hates. I mean, there is a point to it, but it's wrong. It's a wrong comment because there was a legitimate reason for people on the left of the party to dislike Boris, even though Boris initially came from the left of the party, well, the liberal side of the party, and vice versa. Rishi Sunak technically, he always said, there we go, here's my cold, that he came from the Thatcherite side, but the right-wingers don't like him. It's because neither of them actually did what they said they believed. Rishi Sunak, his actions were not Thatcherite. His actions were pro-big government, neoliberal globalist, and not even neoliberal. That would have been even better, much worse, protectionist. And Boris Johnson, to be fair, I don't understand why the left of the party don't like Boris Johnson, because he was still a bit of a liberal wet lettuce. Wet lettuce is Liz Truss, guys. Let's not steal people's nicknames. We have Headshot. Thank you so much for your super chat support, saying the Tories are now a mob. Whoever is in number 10 is not leading the party and by extension the country. What a bloody mess. It's a very, very important point to be made. The reason a lot of people are now saying general election now is because we feel that we don't really have a say. Even though the system that we have, the constitutional monarchy, parliamentary democracy, when it was created and evolved into what we have now, was to be exercised differently. But because of politicians and media turning it into a presidential system, people demand to have more say in terms of the election of prime ministers, and we've centralized most policies, so technically we need to have a say over prime ministers at this point. It's no longer local representatives just focusing on local issues, and that's a problem. Ivan, thank you so much for your super chat. Feel free, if you're doing a super chat, feel free to leave a comment or ask any questions. We have so many comments saying Reform UK as the alternative option. And Ben says Boris came back for the wallpaper. Yeah. Let's quickly go to the world of Twitter. I know. But it's still the best quick place to find out the latest from all the nutters. Okay, so we're trying to find out exactly what's going on. I'm going to keep this live stream going for a few minutes because I would not be surprised if somehow Penny Mordaunt also pulls out, and then you're just going to have an automatic coronation. And that will be absolutely dangerous. This is interesting. This is a comment. There's a couple of quite witty comments, actually. This one is by Lacey of Butcher. 1 second, let's go and put it on the screen for you guys to actually see. Let's get rid of this. Lacey Butcher said, congratulations to Rishi Sunak being appointed as the new Prime Minister of the UK. The countdown to a Labour government has started. By the way, in case you can't tell the tone, that was sarcasm by Lacey Butcher. And Emily Hoodson also said on Twitter, Rishi Sunak is a very lucky man. Yeah. It's the plan is working for Team Rishi. Whether those who believe that this was a coup, this was a plot or not, or just Rishi Sunak just hoping ever since Liz Truss became Prime Minister, it's working out for Rishi Sunak. Whether it's going to work out for the country, I'm not fully convinced at this point. I mean, I don't take sides, as you guys know. The last time I supported anybody in politics was 2019. And since then, I'm I always stay out of any of these games in terms of backing anybody. I still get accused, by the way. Boris supporters say, "Oh, well, you need to back Boris. Why do you back someone else?" I'm like, I'm not backing anybody. And all the others saying, "Oh, you're a Boris backer." I'm like, no, leave me alone. Everybody, leave me alone. So, Roger, thank you again for another super chat. Roger says, "Do you think we'll ever leave the World Health Organization and the World Economic Forum?" Well, the two. I mean, the difference between the two is that the World Health Organization and those organizations are based on treaties and legalities. It's sort of like the European Union, but slightly different. But the World Economic Forum is not an official treaty-linked organization. So you're not linked to the WEF. The countries are not members of the WEF. Individuals become supporters of the WEF. So you don't need to leave the World Economic Forum. It's not a thing in that sense. Which makes it harder, I guess. It makes it harder because if you have most of your politicians being linked to the World Economic Forum, going to these echo chambers, having weird meetings, how are you going to stop it? World Health Organization, you can leave, but it's unlikely. Long story short, you're not going to leave either. So, British Imperialist, love that name. Thank you so much for your super chat. Saying Britain's strike home. From the British, Imperialist. And thank you, Kevin. Thank you again, Kevin, saying King Charles III must order. Oh my God. People are getting violent in the live chat. Let's have a look at the world of Twitter again. Oh, this is good. You're going to love this one. There is all the hacks and commentators are out there. All the blue ticks Twitterati are expressing their opinion. Everyone's an expert in everything these days. Gemma Fort says, Nadine Dorris's weekend ruined. Nadine Dorris is a very special character, isn't she? Let's just say. I don't really understand the point of her anymore at this point. Let's see. Militia 1688 says, you all need to vote English Constitutional Party. There is, if you guys haven't heard, I believe Reform UK and SDP have made a pact, an alliance, which is fascinating. We do need to obviously hear more from Reform UK's future policies. We know enough. But the Social Democrats, SDP, they are socially conservative. They believe in Brexit Britain. But the rest of the economic policies are quite left-wing and protectionist. So I'm not really sure how that alliance is going to work. There is no unity from the right of the political spectrum. So we will see how it goes. And the new deputy leader of UK is still trying to chase up all the smaller parties to create a pact. James Parry says Sunak is not a leader and will never be a leader. Again, there's still a possibility of Boris's supporters to jump and go to back Penny and then a membership. I can't tell what's going to happen with the membership. A lot of people say, well, the big chunk of them were Boris supporters and Boris would have beaten Rishi. Yes. But at the same time, Rishi Sunak didn't do too badly against Liz Truss. I know now that we know Liz Truss was terrible, you'll be like, oh, that's easy. But at the time, she was popular-ish. Rishi could beat Penny Mordaunt, just like how he did quite well. Well enough. We thought Liz Truss could get 70% of the vote, but no. But on paper, if Boris gets his people to basically go behind Penny with the purpose of stopping Rishi Sunak, revenge, then it's possible to stop Rishi Sunak. Now, it depends if you want a more of a globalist Rishi Sunak, or you want someone who's more of a statesman, Penny Mordaunt, but it sometimes a bit wet when it comes to social policies, right? Some people don't like Penny because she changed her mind. Back in the day, she said, oh, something about the genders and women. That's, everyone is a woman. But then during her last leadership election, she clarified, she's saying, no, only women could be women. She wasn't convincing. Still, people said, you're still a wet lettuce again. So we'll see if this time people can compromise. I don't know. George Smith, thank you so much, George, for your super chat, saying, can we just have His Majesty devolve Parliament already? the only way to do is just completely get rid of Parliament at this point, because what the devolving Parliament or dissolving Parliament is going to be. Well, there will be two different things, I guess. If you dissolve it, you need to have an election. If you devolve it, that means you're going to have to basically either create smaller parliaments, or you could actually give all the powers to local councils who are going to collect your bins. Yeah, that is absolutely fascinating. Letty case, general election now, Maya? Well, it depends. Everybody has solutions because of self-interest. Smaller parties want PR as a voting system because they're struggling to get votes and win. Nobody comes up with ideas for the greater good. Everyone's doing it for their own purpose. And the main parties want to keep first past the post self-interest. Starmer and the lefties want general election now, not for the greater good, but because they think they can win if there's an election now. The Tory supporters, right-wing supporters who are sick and tired of Boris, Rishi and Penny, want an election now because they want to get rid of the Tories, punish the Tories, but the consequence will be absolute nightmare. But then they think, well, it's already chaotic. What do we do? At least with a new Labour government, maybe there won't be infighting, at least for a while. So if you just want stability for the sake of stability, then fine. But if you're trying to prevent chaotic policies, then voting for Starmer, having a general election now and voting for Starmer is not a good idea. But again, it's all about self-interest. Everybody's going with their own emotions. People are frustrated. We don't really have a constitutional mandatory kind of mechanism to have a general election when a party is in chaos. The problem is, if we had decentralized powers, nobody would have cared what happens in Westminster. You have that 4 or 5 years, your party holds House of Commons, and nobody would have cared if you keep changing your leaders and if you stab each other in the back, because things would have been decentralized and your policies wouldn't have affected every single person. But everything is centralized. So people are rightly outraged at the system, saying, well, just get rid of all of them. Michael says, Nigel for Prime Minister. I'm not surprised. People are just... We don't really have a solution. We are basically helpless and hopeless. Let's see. Oh, no, God. I'm just getting all this breaking news stuff on Twitter and I keep panicking. Oh, my God. This is... Get ready for this one. So the prospect of Penny Mordaunt becoming prime... going through the next stage is not looking too good. MPs are not automatically backing Penny now. We just had Nadim Zahawi, one of the loyalists, Boris Johnson loyalist, has now switched his backing from Boris to Rishi Sunak. I mean, not that he had any obligation to back Penny. They're not really from the same wing of the party, I guess, but the fact that he instantly came and switched publicly to Rishi. Have a look at it again. There we go. Nadim Zahawi is switching his backing from Boris Johnson to Rishi Sunak. For those of you who joined the live stream late, let's quickly go back to the statement we received from Boris Johnson when he pulled out. No jokes, no pun intended. Pun absolutely intended. There we go. So, in the last few days, let's get rid of this. Okay. In the last few days, I've been overwhelmed by a number of people who suggested that I should once again contest the Conservative Party leadership, both among the public and among friends and colleagues in Parliament. And then he actually again goes down to say, I believe I'm well placed to deliver a Conservative victory. And I can confirm that tonight I cleared the very high hurdle of 102 nominations. So he said that I can now put my name forward. But then he actually then said that although I can do that, in the course of the last few days, I've sadly come to the conclusion that this would simply not be the right thing to do. You can't govern effectively unless you have a united party. So that's the line from Boris Johnson. And again, unless they publicize the list of the nominations. We don't really know if he actually had 102 nominations or not. Maybe he did. Maybe he did. Maybe he actually is doing for once in his life the right thing, because unless he's lying about that, that the line is objectively true. That if he doesn't have the full backing of the MPs, then there's absolutely no point in uniting the party and the country. The problem with this Tory leadership election is that the members and MPs, the obsession was with two things that normally can go hand in hand, but this time, with all this chaos, is very difficult. Unity and stability of the country, the political stability. It's very hard to do that because of the candidates you have. So Boris could have united the membership a little bit, but not the parliamentary party anyway. So that's one thing. But you could say if he had worked out, then he could have done stability. Probably not. Rishi Sunak, let's just say he could be a good manager. Let's just say he could come up with some stable economic policies. But the membership don't want him fully. How is he going to unite the party? So the Boris loyalists are still going to be angry. And so at the moment, no candidate, no Tory MP, no option can deliver unity and political stability. Charles says, you okay? My life is hard. I disagree with you on many things, but I do like you as a person. Oh, stop flirting, Charles. Actually, for the record, those of you joined late, you can see me. I'm dying right now. I was supposed to. This is my day off. I was in bed the whole day. I'm not feeling too well. Runny nose, headache, bit of a cold, chaos, and Boris Johnson ruined my evening by pulling out. Again, no jokes. And that's sad because I'm enjoying this live stream, but I'm actually literally about to collapse. And so I'm going to keep going for a while to find out if we're going to get some sort of conclusion to the end of this episode of the favourite soap opera of Westminster, the Tory party. Let's see what else we actually have. Dan Wootton is still not happy about this situation. Let's look at his latest tweet that he just sent out a minute ago. Because we saw the first tweet. Let's go to the first one. Where is it? Not that one. I believe it's that one. There we go. He said, Boris bottles it. Rishi Sunak will be the next Prime Minister. No vote by Conservative members. No Democratic endorsement by party grassroots. Totally undemocratic. And he just also sent out this tweet just now. Rishi Sunak with the zero virus nonsense. Yep. Pro-China Chancellor Jeremy Hunt by his side is not a unity candidate. Far from it. That is my biggest fear. In this whole situation, forget about never Rishi. There is also a never Hunt sort of situation. Be afraid of Jeremy Hunt as Chancellor. Well, people used to say Theresa May in trousers, but actually it's Ted Heath with a bit of a good diet. But slightly closer to Chinese communists. So that's Jeremy Hunt as Chancellor, to Rishi Sunak, who's obsessed with globalist entities, but he keeps claiming to be a Thatcherite. I'm like, well, we're still waiting to see your Thatcherism. We're still waiting to see your free market and capitalism, because you kept printing money before even lockdown was a thing, and you guys kept raising the tax, the highest tax burden in decades. As he says, Maya, take a Lemsip. I'm trying. I'm on very, very strong painkillers, but still not doing a good job. There are so many comments. There we go. Tax avoid as Prime Minister. Wow. Yeah, that's not the biggest problem. And there's so many other problems with this, with the corruption of these politicians. Someone said Colbert says Enoch Powell for PM. Enoch Powell did nothing wrong. Doug says, I know, see, they're all controlled and compromised. And there we go. This is a good comment. Best comment of the night goes to Carlos. You are so hot. I absolutely agree with Carlos's comment. I think I'm losing it. It's all the painkillers and the runny nose. I'm losing my mind. Actually, up to a point where when the news came out, I had to double check on Twitter. Like, am I actually seeing it right, or am I being delusional? I'm losing my mind. There we go. So this is interesting. Tim Shipman, for those of you who don't know, he's the king of gossip in Westminster. Somehow, this is a guy author, that goes to politicians and everybody, gets the gossip, writes a book about it, a very, very good books as well. He did a book on the 2017 election. He did a book about the Brexit days, and he gets everybody to gossip about everybody, and he writes the book, and then they talk to him again next time with the next book. So he's a fascinating character, but he said this, Tim Shipman, the 5 Nadim Zahawi U-turns in full. Yeah, Nadim Zahawi is fascinating. Serving Boris Johnson, that was the first one. And then, second thing he did, Boris has got to go. And then third, he said, Chancellor, yes, please. And then he sent a letter, actually, you should resign. And then, I'm backing Boris Johnson again. And then finally, we must support Rishi. It's definitely not the cold. I don't think I'm being weird. Nadim Zahawi is giving me a headache at this point. Penny Mordaunt, let's see if Penny has sent out any tweets or memes. Nothing. She has not been seen in 8 hours. What is going... Well, 2 hours ago she tweeted as well, video. 2 hours ago, that was the last tweet from Penny Mordaunt. Wow, she's so organized. Her campaign team, they are very, very determined to lose this election. Let's see, that's the same statement that we have. Michael Fabricant, who was backing Boris Johnson, has now switched to Penny Mordaunt. So not everybody as crazy as Nadim Zahawi. This channel is definitely not biased, right? Let's have a look at... we are the most impartial channel in the UK. Let's see what is going on in the live chat. I'm still a bit dying, but let's keep going, guys. Then there we go. VX Gaming. The new season is gonna be a train wreck. The thing is, we always joke with our political friends in Westminster. For those of you who know the TV show, The Thick of It, the political comedy show, and the last season was years ago. They were saying, why are there no more seasons of The Thick of It? Or like a new Netflix comedy show for politics. We're like, have you seen politics, the state of politics, since 2016? It's already hilarious. You cannot do political satire. You can't make a political show based on like comedy, making ridiculous episodes. This is all like a soap opera. But the sad thing is, it's funny, but it's also bad because it's affecting our lives. You know, we can sit here and laugh about all this situation, but in reality, Jeremy Hunt's actions, I don't know how long ago it was. It feels like 6 years ago, but it was 10 minutes ago as Chancellor, the new Chancellor. His actions are going to make your energy bills, my energy bills, to go up to £5,000. Yeah, good luck with that. On the one hand, they come up with like ultra-socialist price control policies. On the other hand, they go print money like there's no tomorrow and then don't know how to control the prices. This is the end of my has been named. All right. Yeah, and Anne said, I lost the comment, but yes, there we go. And Irvin said, I love The Thick of It. Yeah, same. But now this is funnier. Colin, thank you so much for your super chat. Colin says, Zahawi, first example of rat joining a sinking ship. So true. Let's have a look at Theo. Thank you, Theo, for your support, saying, get something for your cold. I'm trying to get a new government for my cold, but it's not working. Amarok, that's the best policy idea. Anarcho-capitalism. Let's just go. Privatize Parliament. Privatize the House of Windsor. PS says, get your booster. That's the only solution to my cold right now. Yeah, Tom's laughing at there. For those of you who missed it, beginning it. WEF Minister is the new thing. WEF Minister. I love that. It's quite funny. Put on a sweater. Are we losing the focus from politics? I'm just talking about my cold. It's my own fault, guys. It's my own fault. Let's have a look at what's going on. Scott says the media is the devil. It's good to clarify, not the new media, legacy media. I am not the devil. I'm not that competent to be the devil. Okay. Let's keep going for a little bit more because there we go. So we have a statement from, oh my God, look at this guy. We have a statement from Michael Fabricant, who's now switched from Boris Johnson to... I'm getting text messages from people who are watching the live stream. You know who you are messaging me, by the way. So, Michael Fabricant says, I believe I am well... No, that's not it. I literally can't see. There we go. This is the actual statement. That was Boris Johnson's statement. This is Michael Fabricant's tweets and statements. I'm losing my mind. There we go. Let's go to... There we go. So, Michael Fabricant, I am deeply disappointed that Boris has chosen not to stand. I shall now nominate PM for PM. That is so cringy. Yes, Penny Mordaunt, he means. To let the members of our great party decide who should be our leader and next Prime Minister. I abhor political coronations. That I respect. I respect Michael Fabricant's last comment. Political coronations, especially in this chaos. Do you realize people are literally in the live chat, you guys, people are shouting, they're crying for the fact that democracy is a bit dead or dying. On the one hand, the Tories want to basically go, let's just do coronation. And then they say, let's also not do a general election. Not that we kind of, people have been waiting for years. At this point, you kind of need to do a bit of democracy. Even if that means Starmer is going to win. But we will see what happens. Let's go back. I'm still really angry at that PM for PM hashtag. It's such a bad hashtag. I mean, I'm sure when they had the meeting coming up with it, it's like, oh, this is cute. Penny Mordaunt for Prime Minister. But it's just not fun. I think I'm like losing my patience and temperament. Let's have a look at it. Okay, we have another comment here from the Daily Telegraph columnist about the state of the Tory party and the Red Wall. So, the Tory experiment in the Red Wall is over. Political realignment is dead. And Osbornenomics rises from the grave. A huge moment in British politics. Everything has changed, and yet nothing has changed. That is a good point. So Rishi Sunak and Jeremy Hunt, what you're going to get is the consensus, the Gordon Brownites, the Osborneites, the what they call centre ground pragmatic politics, but as we call it, ultra Keynesian control freak mummy daddy issue idiots and protectionist paternalistic. Breathe. These people are basically going to be having the same solutions that never work. Money printing, raising taxes, borrowing money, invading countries, and then apologizing for it. And then finding new ways to continue the cycle. And then we're going to wonder why. The country never changes. None of them want to actually sort out the housing problem. None of them want to actually sort out the situation with small businesses. None of them want to sort out the situation with prosperity and actual opportunity in the country. None of them want to do anything for young people. None of them want to actually come with a proper solution to the social care issue. And none of them is brave enough to even discuss reforming the National Health Service, the sacred cow. I think I went on this run. I lost my cold. I'm back, guys. I'm back. All right, let's focus now. So, Maya's been sassy. Let's do it. What else do we have in the live chat? And then I'll go back to Twitter. You guys, yes, Thornbird67 says, please, not Rishi. And then we have Davina saying, where is the British Georgia Maloney? That sort of politics will not work, actually, unfortunately, in the UK. Mega says, general election now. There's so many comments like that. I believe some people agree with my rant. Thank you so much, guys. SM says, damn, Rishi is not wanted by the public. He's not wanted by the Tories or the public. That comment, that tweet was actually spot on in the sense that the Red Wall experiment. That Red Wall experiment was not done properly by Boris Johnson and his gang, because that political realignment was a bit weird. You're bribing the northern voters by treating them like socialists, but they're not socialists. And then you essentially anger your base in the south, in Surrey and your Kent. So you essentially alienated all sides. I wish I had some sort of napkin. Now, because that didn't work, they say, well, the solution is probably is to go and ignore the Red Wall and ignore the inner cities as well, London and Birmingham, and essentially not even be close too much to the shires and farmers, because we're just going to find a new way to anger the farmers and fisheries, all industries, but we will force them to keep voting for us. That's exactly how the likes of Blair, Brown, David Cameron kept winning these elections. They were all, when people say they're all the same, it's because the model that they were using was the same. All they had to do to win elections was to basically go to general election and tell the public, look at the opposition, that's more dangerous, that's more chaotic, coalition of chaos. So they'll force you to vote for them in the name of stability. Strong and stable was literally Theresa May's nonsense. That is not good politics. That's not healthy democracy. Let's have a look. I think we have a solution. Matty says Trump. Trump for Prime Minister. That's going to work. And let's go to Twitter. Oh, I'm still alive. For those of you who came late, I was supposed to be resting, and then Boris Johnson ruined my evening. Let's have a look at the tangent. Is that? Oh. Apparently. Okay, we don't really have the full list. Nadim Zahawi is still tweeting. Nadim Zahawi, who has made 5 U-turns and is now backing Rishi Sunak, is still tweeting. Anna Firth is now backing Rishi Sunak. So that theory that all Boris Johnson's supporters are going to go to Penny Mordaunt is not coming up. Is not happening. We might actually see a coronation tomorrow. We might actually see the Tory MPs not even allowing their own party members from voting in this election. Wow. It is fascinating. So if they do that, they're going to lose so many members. And we've already had over the last few days members cancelling their membership and joining Reform UK or just becoming independent. If you lose more, you're not going to have enough manpower to campaign against Keir Starmer, which means the Tories will be completely destroyed in the next election. But don't get too excited, because just because the Tories are getting destroyed doesn't mean Reform UK is going to do better, because First Past the Post is just going to allow Starmer in. And those who say, let's do PR, you do realize what's going to happen with PR. With PR, you're going to have still Starmer's Labour Party winning, and the other seats are going to go to the Green Party and the Liberal Democrats. Because the way you do PR is, it really depends on how many right-wing parties you have and how many left-leaning parties you have. So it's not going to help the Reform UKs or Tories in that sense. It's a lose-lose situation. Keeping First Past the Post is not going to allow smaller right-wing parties to win. Getting rid of First Past the Post is not going to allow new smaller right-wing parties to win. The only way to do it is actually just with more patience and more organisation. Either infiltrate the Tory party or just wait for the Tory party to eventually die out. It might take about 5 million years, but it could be literally this election. But we don't know. Okay, let's have a look. The live chat has now turned into American politics. People are talking about Trump for some reason and Biden. Mr. Smith says direct democracy. This would have been the only solution in the country if not national direct democracy, localized direct democracy. I was ranting earlier about the whole concept of the parliamentary democracy. If we had decentralized powers properly, then it wouldn't really matter what happens in the Westminster bubble if parties keep changing their leaders during that term, because real power would have been within the local communities. So when you have certain countries like Switzerland doing local democracy a lot, is because they're more concentrated. If you do actually have good local authorities and good communities being active in politics, you don't really have it right now, then what you can actually do proper direct democracy, which means it'll be more democratic in the sense that some areas will remain NIMBY, but some areas will want to go with growth, and competition will happen. But direct democracy on a national level is quite dangerous because it's not representative of the country. What's good for Cornwall is not good for Lincolnshire, for example. Okay. Let's have a look. Yeah, there we go. So Bill says we need a Swiss model option. Absolutely. Just readapt the Swiss option into this country. It's the same thing when it comes to healthcare. You could do the same thing in that sense. People are laughing. There we go. Decentralized direct democracy, but the powers that be have to go first. Yeah, it is a tricky situation. I apologize, by the way, again for the sniffing and all this chaos. It could get annoying with the microphone. I'm not going to keep you guys much longer unless some chaos happens again. Let's have a look at Twitter in case we are missing any breaking news. And there are unconfirmed reports of mass defections. I think they're talking about Tories going to reform, but we'll wait tomorrow in the next few days to see what happens. Okay, so this is GETTR Forks. This is from GETTR Forks. This is quite interesting. Let's have a look at this quickly. It's about the possibility of Penny Mordaunt, I guess. Here we go. Ooh, right. With 100 MPs still having not expressed a preference, if we were to infer that the 100 split is the same in the same ratio as those we know, it would give Boris 99 nominations. But this was when he was actually, because he's still tweeting saying, I had more than 100 nominations. Everyone's still talking about this part of it. Did he actually have over 100 nominations? Because it really depends. If he had more, it could take away from Penny Mordaunt in the sense that they've already declared, even privately. But if they haven't declared, even privately, that means it's still up for grabs. I'm not convinced at this point anymore. I don't do predictions. I'm not convinced that it will be a big wave from Boris to Penny. We would have seen it by now. I don't know. And it is 10 p.m. on a Sunday, though. So we'll find out tomorrow morning. But I'm just not convinced at this point. It's a big gap. But it's still possible for Penny to get 100 nominations. Apologies for this again. Hugh, thank you so much for your super chat. W, if are in charge, an election won't change it. People said this. People are basically losing hope on any kind of optimism. But we have seen fight backs. They said it about Italy, for example, that you will never be able to vote against the global consensus. They started saying about 2016 Trump. So on the one hand, you could say, oh, they didn't take him seriously, and he won, and then that's why they got rid of him in 2020. But that means that you can still do it. That means there is hope, there is optimism in terms of fighting back against the global consensus. And the same thing with the European Union. People were saying a few years ago, you could never leave the European Union. The globalists will never allow it. But we found a way and did it. So let's not completely be hopeless and lose any optimism, because there is still a way to fight back. Most of the time is when the system goes down. Unfortunately, that is not a good option. Maya, you should have called in a sickie. I did. I was resting in bed all day. I'm blaming Boris Johnson for pulling out. I was happy in bed watching rubbish Netflix shows and having my painkillers. I thought I could take a break. I was preparing the videos for tomorrow in bed, actually. And you do realize like 5 or 6 of my videos tomorrow were about Boris Johnson and Boris Penny, Boris Rishi. All those videos are gone. I have nothing to talk about tomorrow. Now, of course, there's going to be so much breaking news tomorrow because of the main voting day. We're going to have a few hours. I might just basically do a constant live stream. I'm just going to leave it on the screen and just put it on the kind of break, but I'll come back because there's absolutely no point in keep turning off the videos, because every 10 minutes we're going to get a new update. We'll see how it goes. There's so many comments again in the live chat. Vote Reform UK. There we go. There's another one. David, yes. Vote Reform. Wake up. That's the other one. I said earlier, people still accuse me, like Boris supporters saying, oh, why are you attacking Boris? Why are you on that side? Other people saying, you love Boris Johnson. The other one I get accused of saying, oh, you and your Tory party. Why do you keep calling me Tory? What is this obsession with calling me a Tory? Leave me alone, everybody. I'm a libertarian. Okay, and I used to be an old Whig. So I'm a libertarian conservative. Okay, what's going on here? I don't know if I'm seeing things right. I'm seeing spots. Okay. So embarrassing. No, this is nonsense. Okay. So much nonsense going on tonight. The newspapers are now panicking, the editors, because they have to change their front page headlines immediately. So I'm not the only one whose Sunday evening's been ruined. Uh, also the press. Hugh, thank you again for another super chat. Starmer is WF. It's the spectre of our day. Where is Bond to destroy it? Well, Bond is currently sniffing in front of the camera. One day, guys, one day we will win the battle and the whole thing. There we go. Penny Morden still hasn't tweeted. I mean, not that she should, but come on. Do a sassy, passive-aggressive tweet. That would be funny. We need personality. We need some sort of charisma. And Penny is just... Ugh. She just makes me want to fall asleep forever. It's just bad. It's like a worse version of Theresa May. When some of these people think, oh, if I stand like this and if I talk like this, that's statesman. Yeah, statesman to an extent. But you need something in addition. First, you need good ideas. Second, you need to be able to communicate like a normal human being. But don't also overdo it, because if you do too nice, that's Penny's problem. Then they don't see you as a hungry politician. She just goes around, did polished, edited videos. I am from Portsmouth. I'm Penny Mordaunt. I'm amazing. I love my people. And then they say, well, can you fight back during the debate? She just hides behind the box saying, I'm sorry, I'm Penny Mordaunt. Well, that's embarrassing. I don't know what's going on with this live stream, but you're getting a bit of a performance. Let's have a look at the live chat again. Rishi Wishy cleans up, Joyce says. And Charles says Sunak was born in Southampton. Boris, Greece. Well, Boris was born in New York, actually. So Boris is a foreigner. We have Paul Duffy saying, Mug, Jacob Rees-Mogg for Prime Minister. It'll be interesting to see what Jacob Rees-Mogg is going to do now, because Rees-Mogg was backing Boris Johnson. But that would be interesting to, if they're going to publicly declare, there will be so many of these Boris backers who are going to be switching. Can't breathe. Okay, let's have a look at your comments again. Don't care where Rishi was born. That doesn't bar anyone from office. But yeah, because it's you're not standing for head of state. It doesn't really matter where you're from. It's only for head of state. And in this country, head of state is king. Anyway, kings and queens. So we are screwed. Rishi-washy. The longer version of it is the fishy Rishi-washy will finish us, according to SHG Retro. And Penny is stone cold. Yeah, stone cold. Oh, I'm Penny. Look at me. I'm so nice. And believes Jacob Rees-Mogg will be backing Penny Mordaunt. Okay, I think. Zed says, Maya, can you get Richard Tyson? I get Richard Tyson on a regular basis. And I started getting attacked. People said, you had Rees-Mogg, Richard Tyson on the channel way too much. I'll bring him on now, this week. Now that it's happening, get his reaction on the new party leader. But for those of you, because I keep getting emails saying, get this guest, get that guest. We have had the party leaders from, I forgot the names of the parties now, Reform UK. We had Reclaim, but Reclaim is not a party. It's just a branding. And we had the SDP. We had the leader of SDP. We had UKIP. So we have had all these people on. In fact, we haven't. The only main party leader we haven't had on is the Tory party leaders. They are too scared. CCHQ will ban me. Okay, let's have a look at the last thing on Twitter. Otherwise, I'm going to let you guys go, and I'm going to go back in bed and die for the rest of the night. I think this is it for the evening, guys. Time for a break. I will see you guys in about 12 hours. Just over 12 hours. Make sure to stay up to date by clicking on the... When you guys click on the notification bell next to the subscribe button, click on all, not personalized. And even to be fair, even when you click on all, it still doesn't really give you all the updates. But just make sure to check the channel regularly throughout the day. We're going to come back tomorrow with a number of updates. It's going to be... Hopefully I'll be recovering by then, because it will be very embarrassing if I'm still dying and the Tories are going with their coronation. Thank you so much for all the support. Thank you for everyone who sent out super chat support, and everybody in the live chat who are just there giving me all the kind words about my well-being and my amazing good looks and my penny modern impression. So that didn't go too well. I can't do a good penny. I'm going to go to bed now. Probably best for you guys to go enjoy the next hour or so of the evening with your families. Do not follow politics or social media. Just go chill, have a cup of tea, and go watch some sort of Netflix thing or whatever app you guys use. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Mai TC, and we are the media.